Howdy, howdy, fellow movie watchers, and welcome back for another edition of the Wisco Movie Watchers podcast, brought to you by PTE Creative. As always, we are your hosts, Evan and Dylan Davies. We're returning to the big box office series in a long-awaited episode. Dylan, what are we covering today?
We got 1976's Rocky.
Alrighty. A movie...
Best Picture winner.
A Best Picture winner. I forgot about that. No, actually, no, I did not. Yep. I've been oscillating whether I remembered that or not.
Yesterday I went on like a deep dive, and it's kind of crazy that it won Best Picture, actually. Because, like, that year is stacked with movies.
Okay.
The other three that I think had a chance of beating it were All the President's Men, which that's a top 20 movie to me. Network, which won a bunch of awards. That was like the big contender that year. And then also Taxi Driver, which...
That's a pretty stacked lineup.
Yeah, it's Scorsese, so it was respected, but I think it's a little too grimy for the Oscars. But it is surprising that Rocky won.
Yeah.
Yeah, so covering the numbers real quick, because this is box office. 117 million domestically.
Yeah.
225 million worldwide. On a budget that was just over 1 million.
I did see that in
barely over $1 million.
So unlike usual, I have done at least some research here. Well, I do a lot of research on other shows, but I don't necessarily do research on these. Most of the time I watch the movie, give my notes, and call it a day. And then I usually have some tidbits. This time I was like, you know what, I'm actually going to go get some reviews. I think it helps. I'm currently watching The West Wing, and I'm watching White House staffers continually get information and notes. I'm like, I should just do that. So
Is that Martin Sheen as president?
Yes, it is. Jed Bartlett, yes. Okay. It is a phenomenal show. I understand why people loved it. I always heard it was
great. Yeah, I always heard it was great. I just don't watch TV, so...
Well, I'm of the same camp, you know that, where I don't really give a shit about TV, but I started with getting little short clips, and I was like, oh, let me watch some more compilation clips. And I just kept doing more, and I was like, I just gotta watch this. And I was like, it is
a pretty call back to every episode. I heard it's a pretty cozy show.
It is a pretty cozy show. It is.
Okay. that makes me a little bit intrigued of watching it.
Yeah. Alrighty. With Rocky, I'll give the startup. I was pleasantly surprised. I avoided this movie like the plague.
You have not seen this.
I had never watched Rocky in my life until yesterday, as of this recording.
Had you seen the montage?
Oh, of course I've seen part of the montage, and that Rocky again fits into that endless category of film that I've seen plenty of clips of. I know the story, and the story does not inherently appeal to me on basic, telling. So then I'm like, well, why do I need to go watch this? Plus, admittedly, I'm not usually a Sylvester Stallone guy. I like him in First Blood, and that's usually about it. And I think he's kind of fun as a cameo guy. I think he's tailor-made for a cameo world. But I don't usually enjoy Sylvester Stallone leading man, so to speak.
I have not seen Rocky 5, or I think it's Rocky Balboa is the next one.
Yeah.
I've not seen those two, but I've seen all the other Rockies. And I will say Sylvester Stallone is like the standout in all of them. He's great. It is a great character, admittedly. Even though I don't love Stallone any more than you do.
Well, I think the issue for me was always, even in the clips I saw, I'm like, it kind of just seems like he's playing Sylvester Stallone and little one-trick pony-ish. But now watching it, I'm like, maybe not. I'm not in the complete camp of, it's terrible. And
I have to say, though, I respect the hell out of Stallone in those early years.
Oh, I do too.
He became a little bit too big for his own good, I think, in the 80s when he becomes action star versus Arnold, but Like before that, he is actually making a lot of interesting choices.
Yeah, I think
'Cause-
the thing is, I respect the hustle. I respect a lot of that, and although he's not necessarily my cup of tea, like I said, I was pleasantly surprised. I just made a comment as though I wasn't crazy about it. I did enjoy this film, and I will
Mhm.
get into a detail that you and people in my private life will be shocked to hear based off of this movie. But the fact that this is another Goodwill Hunting scenario where this guy shopped and shopped and shopped this
Mhm.
around and said, "No, I'm the one to do this. This is mine. I
Yeah.
can do it, and I know I can do it, and I'm going to do
Yeah.
it."
So just for anyone who doesn't know, he had been approached by one of the studios. I can't remember which one, and they offered him a three or a six-figure deal for the screenplay, and he rejected it because he wanted to star in it, and they weren't about to take a risk on an unknown person to
Yeah,
star in it. So he turned down hundreds of thousands of dollars just because he was so sure he could play it.
which is wild.
Yeah, I mean, wildly confident, but also I gotta respect that. Like, he writes the screenplay himself alone, and then he doesn't accept. That's a lot of money back in the 70s.
Oh, that's a shit ton of money back in the '70s. That's a shit ton of
Hmm.
money today. I mean,
Yeah, that's
all due
true.
respect, it doesn't last as long as today, but
Yeah.
if someone offers you six figures for your work, you take it usually immediately. I'm sorry, like,
Hmm.
I mean, granted, I'm not an actor, but if I wrote a screenplay and someone said, "We'll give you X amount of dollars for it," and it's in the six figures, it's financially irresponsible for me to not
Yeah.
sell it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, as someone who wants to direct movies, if someone offered me a six figure for a screenplay I wrote, I would take it
I mean,
immediately.
well, you kind of have to, especially in today's world, because the game includes money at all times. And
Mhm.
what's funny is now because it's so easy to make movies, easy, that
Yeah.
because it's so accessible, because we have film quality cameras on cell phones and all these other things, people are like, "Oh, it's so much easier to make a movie." You're like, "Yes, but to make a movie, it's even harder to make a movie at a high level now because the financial implications of the game that you have to play to make it."
Hmm.
Where back in the day, you could make a movie like Rocky that is advertised as a boxing movie that honestly doesn't have that much boxing in it,
Yeah, not
and
much.
and it's more of a romance, oddly, and a character study,
Yeah.
and it could be made for a relatively small budget, and you could call it a day. But it had a distribution partner, it had a studio backing it, you had all these other things marketing it and ready to go. You need to do all of that yourself in an independent film world, so
Hmm.
you need a lot of money to play the game. So yeah, you gotta sell that fucking script. Be like, "Please, sir, can I have some more? Would you like another script? I could shit out
Yeah.
four more if you're gonna pay me this." You know?
What I didn't pay attention at the beginning. Is this a United Artists movie,
Yes,
UA?
that was one of my.
Okay.
That was my first joy from this movie was seeing that United Artists
Yeah. It's
intro.
funny because like this had to have like funded their entire catalog for like the next 5 years. Because United Artists were not a huge studio.
No, United Artists was a really interesting studio.
Yeah, I would compare it to like New Line Cinema,
Yeah,
where they do big movies sometimes, like Lord of the Rings, but then most of the time they're just making mid-budget stuff.
well, and the thing is, this New Line when they were making Lord of the Rings, that was when they were owned by Time Warner, and they were still a Time Warner company. Like this is United Artists back in the day where they were literally just a collective of people,
Yeah, that's true.
and which is why it's fun every time you go back and watch a movie and you see United Artists, you're like, "Oh, that's cool," simply because it's a collection of people that kind of made the studio. Not that you couldn't say that about other studios, but it's not the same as a Warner's or Paramount or Universal at the time where they became giant conglomerates, and that was during the time that giant conglomerates started buying up studios and kind of taking over the Hollywood system.
Yeah.
But it is a very interesting way to see it. Let's go into. I have some top critic reviews, but let's go into our review first and see how it works.
Real quick, could you do the reviews from the critics?
Sure.
Because I want to see if it matches up with what I read about it.
Okay, so I got 3 reviews, and I only did the blurb because I'm not going to read the full film review.
Yeah.
I would highly recommend you guys. Actually, it was very enlightening, not only from an insight perspective of what they thought about the film, but just the way they wrote these reviews, how film reviews should actually be done. Because I got 3 really respected people to do this. And I did find out in this research process, most of the time, if you find a really well-known critic of the era, it's their original review, and it's just the posted date. It's not the actual date they reviewed it. So, for instance, these are all 1976 reviews.
Yeah, like I know a lot of Ebert's reviews are archived.
Yes. So Roger Ebert is one of mine. His will be the second I wrote. So first I got Pauline Kael. She was a film reviewer for The New Yorker, and she is listed as a top critic. She gave it a fresh score based off of her analysis, or they assume it's a fresh score. Mm-hmm. But this is fun. Rocky is a threadbare patchwork of old movie bits, yet it's engaging and the naive elements are emotionally effective.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's glowing, but I think it's super accurate, and I think it's still fair.
Well, Pauline Kael at that time is the critic. Like, of all, like any critic in the country, she's the most respected.
Well, I'm glad I accidentally clicked on hers instead of just the review, because I went through and saw a lot of movies of the time that she reviewed, and a lot of them are big blockbuster movies that you think a critic like that wouldn't be into, and she gave them fair scores. She gave them real scores.
There's also a lot of movies that are you can never say objectively, but I'm going to say objectively good.
Yeah.
And she just didn't like them, but very far, like few and far between.
Because I even saw per Rotten Tomatoes, she was positive on like Superman 2, that's more of a fan favorite than it is a mm-hmm. good movie. Most people critically would say Superman 1 is better than Superman 2. But fan-wise, a lot more people enjoy Superman 2 over the original Superman. I, myself included, I prefer Superman 2. But I was shocked to see a lot of those bigger movies at that time. She still reviewed really well. So it wasn't mm-hmm. just the classic, I'm a critic, I hate everything, unless it's a Academy-level movie. Roger Ebert gave it 4 stars. It's a story about a punk club fighter from the back streets of Philly who gets a crack at the world championship, has been told 100 times before. A description of it would sound like a cliche from beginning to end. But Rocky isn't about a story, it's about a hero, and it's inhabited with supreme confidence by a star. That is spot on, in my opinion. I don't know if I give it 4 stars, but that's spot on.
Yeah. So far, they have not mentioned the one thing that I saw that I really want to talk about.
And then I made sure to get some balance here, so those are 2 positive reviews. Then we have Vincent Canby, who was a reviewer for the New York Times. The screenplay of Rocky is purest Hollywood make-believe of the 1930s, but there would be nothing wrong with that had the film been executed with any verve. It's the story of Rocky and his girlfriend Adrian, when Rocky, due to circumstances too foolish to go into, is granted the opportunity of his lifetime. Not glowing.
Okay. Yeah, still that doesn't quite fit. The thing that I saw was a lot of critics apparently thought it was schmaltzy. And I was like, that is not what I see.
Elaborate when you're talking about that.
Schmaltz, I think of like overly sincere and overly self-serious in its themes.
I agree with that. I think it's kind of schmaltzy.
You do? Okay. Because when I look at Rocky, most of it just plays out like it's like very quiet and very slow and deliberate.
Yeah.
Especially the relationship between Adrian and Rocky. Like it feels very real compared to a schmaltzy romance.
So that I can give you. I think the reason I would say I agree with the take of Schmaltzy is I think what this film does, and I think this is where you can tell that someone who, all due respect, because he did a bang up job writing this, Sylvester Stallone is not the world's greatest film writer. And you don't have to be the world's greatest film writer to write a great film. You don't have to be. You know,
Mhm.
we've had people that have these enormous one hit wonders, and then the rest of their career is straight garbage from a writing perspective. So I don't want to take that away from anybody. Having said that, there are a lot of moments where in the writing process I feel that it gets dinged, in my opinion, because I do think the Adrian stuff is really good slow burn, and then it's just like, all right, they're totally in love and they're just all devoted to each other, and that's it.
Yeah,
And it's
I
just
can
so
see that. Yeah.
that bothers me a bit. Or I don't think I saw an audience member review of this, honestly, that I really appreciated, where Rocky doesn't actually have any real challenges or difficulties throughout this entire movie until the actual fight.
Yeah.
And it's all the self doubt kind of stuff. And I appreciate that because it's not the
Yeah.
traditional way of doing it.
I
However, the moments that it's picked to be and show those things, I do think are off of where they should be. They kind of come
I
out of
think
nowhere, and you're just like,
yeah, I do think that's a little bit of 2020 hindsight where you're comparing it to every single sports film that comes out after Rocky,
sure,
where Rocky helps define what the sports film is, like the complete outline. It
sure.
like all the there's always like a certain amount of challenges. They're always an underdog. Like it feels like you're looking back on it with hindsight and going, well, it doesn't have those things. But that's because the formula is not made for sports movies yet.
Oh no, but it's not even a sports movie thing. It's literally it. I don't even consider this a sports movie, if I'm being honest. I don't think
I
this is a sports movie.
would I would say that's fair.
This isn't a sports movie. Those that think this is a sports movie, I would highly disagree. I think this is a movie that has sports in it.
All the Rockies after the first one, I would consider sports movies, but not the first one.
Right, and that's the thing I know about the Rocky franchise. They go into it becomes
Especially Rocky Four.
well, Rocky Four is just pro wrestling. That's all
It's
Rocky
just
Four.
it's ridiculous. It's great.
All that, and that's one of the things that what has kind of taken me away and why I don't really have an interest in going into Rocky in the first place is I'm not saying they're not good. I haven't seen them, but for someone who already loves and enjoys pro wrestling, I don't necessarily know if I need to see Sylvester Stallone's take on boxing version of pro wrestling. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean that's completely fair. Uh, they definitely jumped the shark at one point, but I would actually say Rocky is closer to Raging Bull as a boxing movie than it is closer to Creed. It's in it like within its own franchise, where Creed is a full out and out sports movie.
Yeah.
It's all about boxing, but Rocky is much more of like a personal character study,
Right.
like Raging Bull is with De Niro. But yeah, so I would say it's closer to that than it is its own franchise later.
It's just an interesting way to do. I mean, there's a lot of franchises that do that. A lot of them. Or how many horror franchises start as one good horror movie, like a true horror movie, and then it goes into slasher, and then it becomes kind of a horror comedy, and it becomes
Yep.
popcorn movies, and it's completely different than what the actual Halloween. We just covered Halloween as a series,
Hmm.
at least with two films, but we went really deep into the whole anthology that is Halloween, and that's how Halloween starts. Halloween 1 is a true blue basic slasher film with great
Yeah.
horror elements, and it's more of a horror film than it actually is a slasher film. And then it becomes fucking runes and cults and crazy shit that
Yeah.
make no sense in the context of, oh, there's this insane killer that just
Hmm.
goes around killing people because he likes it. And it becomes, oh, he has the rune star of the fucking
Well,
devil thing over him. It's like, what?
yeah, I would say even saying he liked it is an overstatement. You don't know why he's doing it
No.
at all.
And that's where I think a lot of these franchises, why people don't like franchises, it's because, and why they always think the first one is the best, is because it changes. Because they show, we often want to ramp up the sizzle, not the steak. And then we lose as much steak.
Yeah.
Where it looks mouth-watering, and then you taste it, you're like, it's fine. The first one, you're like,
Yeah.
wow, this is a great steak. This is really good. Oh, it's seasoned perfectly. It's cooked so well. Look at that pink, beautiful inside. That's that first movie. Very rarely does someone say, I'm going to give you a better steak the next time. And I'm going to give you an even better steak the next time.
Hmm.
That doesn't happen often, which is why we inherently just
Yeah.
go franchises. Oh my God. Right? But we're still chasing that second steak. Because we get stuff like Empire, we get stuff like The Dark Knight. We're like, come on, that's better than the first thing we got. The first thing we got was great. We got to keep chasing it. So a lot of us just get guarded and don't want to do franchises whatsoever. I say that knowing full well I think I'm about to be in a theater for a second film of a franchise that I don't think needs to be a franchise in Zootopia. I think we're taking the kids for a day off trip right before Thanksgiving to Zootopia, and I was like, didn't plan on going to a theater for that one, but I'll take the free
Yep.
credit for the show. I don't care.
I and don't even get me started on unneeded sequels.
I know.
I could rant all day about it.
I would love to do a top 10 show of your top 10 most unnecessary sequels. I would really enjoy that show.
Yeah.
I think we could do 12 episodes of that. So
Yeah.
we could do, or we could do, or I'd love to go like get one of the big like electronic touch boards where you can actually do the telestrator and everything. And I'd love to
Mhm.
get you like football analyst on the board, just going like, it starts out here, and how the fuck did it end up here? Why did we need this, and that versus
Yeah.
that, and that? It'd be very fun to see you be in that mode. We should talk
Yeah.
about that
And
further.
you could argue Rocky does fit into that. Like it doesn't need a sequel. It doesn't call out for a sequel. It's just it made a shitload of money,
Oh,
so
of
the
course.
studio's gonna cash in.
Well, I mean, I would assume it's very much like Back to the Future, where they said,
Yeah,
hey,
probably.
we're making it. You can either be a part of it or not, but we're making it because it made us
Yeah.
way too much money not to.
I would argue though, in that case, Back to the Future is such a creative and unique concept.
Yeah.
Whereas Rocky's not a unique concept. It's just about a boxer.
No. So let's get into this a little bit. I don't think we need to share our traditional notes as much, but one thing I did want to really talk about, I think the intro is really fun because it sets the tone immediately. This movie, oddly, for someone who has been in so many clunky tell not show movies, the man wrote and executed a movie that does a lot more show than tell in odd moments where you don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, I think his strong point is actually character, which is surprising.
It's hilarious because I think there's a lot of, I don't want to say characters of type, but I think there's a lot of iconography. That'd be the way I would go with it. Where it's more of an icon of what that character is. But it's so easily defined, and no one really kind of intertwines those characters. There's not like four characters that are all the same.
I yes, I would say the one thing that defies that concept is Paulie, where you don't know what the hell his deal is for most of the movie. It's just
No.
like this dude's erratic.
Very erratic. And that's the thing, but he is the drunk, but he's also the best friend. But he's also this and that. But like Mickey is just the old curmudgeon trainer. It's
Yeah,
all
I
he
love him
is.
so much.
You know, Adrian gets to be a little bit different, but honestly, I kind of get sick of Adrian by the end of the movie.
That's a take.
Okay, I'll just go into it now because we've started it. Because I always say we're going to table it, and sometimes we don't get back to it. I think the most interesting thing about Adrian is at first when she's so hesitant. And I think the intention is you
Oh,
tell him,
there's a
Lupin.
dog.
You tell him, Lupin. I always love our dogs in the window takes with Lupin. But
Oh, it's the dog that Lupin hates the most
oh,
too.
nice. And I think I can see Emma's ears in the background too, so that's really fun. We get both dogs today. That's really fun. The thing is with Adrian, I think the most interesting stuff is the shy, put upon no confidence in herself character. And to then go into the way I read Adrian, and maybe not everyone reads it the same way, is she kind of, because she doesn't know how to do anything else, just kind of starts to serve Rocky.
Oh, I think that is her character.
Yeah. And that's where I kind of.
'Cause she goes from taking care of Paulie to taking care of Rocky.
Right. I don't think there's anything else there, and I don't think that's that interesting.
I should also say this romance works so much more for me because yesterday I also watched 3 Days of the Condor, which is a political thriller with Robert Redford and Faye Dunaway.
Okay.
And my God, the romance in there is like I've never been so uncomfortable watching a romance play out because he has her at gunpoint. He makes her drive to her apartment. He forces her to make him stay there. He ties her up at points, and then all of a sudden, you're having sex, and you're supposed to believe in this love story. Like literally, I've never been so uncomfortable with a love B plot, and I've seen so many like movies from the 30s, movies from the 40s, where it's like, yeah, they're not actually treating women that way, but I've never been as uncomfortable as I was watching that.
Right, and I think I understand it's a sign of the times as well, and I'm looking at it from a lens of we are nearing the end of 2025, and this movie's oddly we should have just because we waited so long we should have just waited to do this in January because then we could have said it was a 50th anniversary special, but whatever, it's not a big deal. Because I did see it, like we've done a couple of movies from we did Pirates, and I'm like fuck, should have just waited for the 20th, but we just wanted to do random and have some fun. And I appreciate that about this series. With Rocky, I do find that relationship uncomfortable. I do find that first time when they kiss and everything, I don't like it. It's very uncomfortable for me.
I would agree. I would agree. Sorry,
You good?
Lupin's just gonna keep barking. I would agree. I think I would. I think I would have been more affected had I not seen 3 Days of the Condor on the same day. Because there are points where he's like way too forward and like almost pushing himself on her.
Yeah.
But considering what I saw previously, I was like, oh, he's at least giving her somewhat of a choice. Like he doesn't like force her to come into the apartment. He doesn't. He does at least like he doesn't force a kiss on her. Like he a lot of. No,
Mm,
I know. But at least he like kisses her on the cheek before at least letting her kind of make a decision. Because my God, I've seen some other movies where it's just like the power kiss. You know what I'm talking about?
yes,
Where
yes.
it's a
It's
trope
always
where it's like
uncomfortable. It's always
where it's
uncomfortable.
just like yeah, the girls will go from completely hating the character to completely in love because they kissed him.
Yeah,
So
it's dumb, and I hate that. I really fucking hate that shit.
it's definitely of the time, and I'm glad we've gotten away from it.
I'm glad we have too because it's fucked. It's fucking ridiculous.
Well, not only that, it's just uncomfortable.
It is deeply uncomfortable. I mean, I did get truly uncomfortable. It's, what's crazy is, here's why I think this movie does work. And where it is a credit to it, and I'm saying that even in a scene that I don't like. The whole time he's trying to get her into that apartment, I'm looking for maybe he's going to throw me a curveball. Maybe he's actually just going to sit on the couch and, like,
Hmm.
what I've noticed in a lot of good trends in modern movies, even if it's not the best movie, is movies in the past that would have immediately gone for the sex scene or immediately gone for this is where the love turns up.
Hmm.
It does it in a completely different way because they show, oh, nothing actually happened. Like, oh my god, the man had respect for her, so that's why she actually came to enjoy him and like him. Be like, what a fucking twist. Who would have
Yeah.
thought that could have worked, you know?
I mean, I agree. I wouldn't have wanted that to happen, but you could have justified it at the time as like Rocky is the first male character that shows her any respect. Because Paulie, I mean,
Oh
come on,
god, Polly's.
he's like the biggest dick, even more than Mickey, which is saying something.
Yeah, Mickey feels like he's taken out his frustrations on the world, and then he finally gets humanized, and then they just take him back to taking his frustrations out on the world.
Yeah,
Where it's
and
like,
he is just like the most curmudgeonly old man of all
yes,
time.
very much so. And the thing is like that scene just makes me uncomfortable because the second he takes off his jacket, and then he chooses to
Yep.
take his sweater off, and I went, got it.
I think that's a little bit of Stallone's ego coming into it.
Yeah,
I would not be surprised if he insisted on that.
I wouldn't be either. And that's where I just go, got it. And then he keeps, and I'm almost giving him the pass because he plays such a charming lughead that I go, maybe he actually does just want her to sit down. Maybe.
Mhm.
Then when he gets up, I'm like, this feels not good. And he just keeps
Yeah,
advancing. And the whole idea is you're supposed to go to that classic, well, she's not leaving. If she really didn't want to be here, she'd leave. And you're like, it's not how it
yeah.
fucking works, man. It's not how it works.
Uh, I think one of the reasons it doesn't bother me as much is it does feel like they're playing it out as mostly realistic.
Yeah.
Like that's where I say there's no schmaltz to it.
Okay.
Like schmaltz to me would be like as soon as they kiss, violins come out and the score's telling you how to feel, and then it jumps into a love scene.
Yeah.
That would feel schmaltzy to me.
Sure.
But this one at least plays out somewhat realistic, where it's just they kiss and that's it.
Yeah, and then they go for more, but yes, that's.
Yeah, I do think there's a scene missing in between their relationship
Yes.
because it just goes from somewhat uncomfortable Adrian to completely comfortable.
Just completely devoted. And
Yes,
I think what you're supposed to get is also hilarious that we get the classic trope of, oh, take off your glasses and now you're pretty.
oh
Um,
yeah.
it's fu-
Also, do you think this is Adrian's first kiss? It kind of feels that way.
maybe? I don't know.
Also, they're just throwing around the R word all day. I was actually laughing quite a bit at that.
It's fucking ridiculous. I'm not ready for it half the time. I'm like, what the fuck are we talking about? And I get it. It's 1976.
Hey, they were doing that into the 2000s.
Right. But we fought that battle as kids as well, where we learned it, and people were like, you shouldn't say that, and we're like, why? Because we didn't know the context of it very well. And then you're like, oh yeah, that's pretty fucked. We shouldn't do that. You know,
Yeah,
that was
I
still a
wouldn't be
thing when we
surprised.
were in middle school and elementary school.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if the Zoomers started bringing it back because they legitimately seem to be evil people. Like, because I usually avoid the news, but then I read all about this like young Republicans group and like some of the evil shit they were saying, and I was like, God damn, these people suck.
Uh huh.
What the fuck is going on?
Right. Right. No, it's
I would not be surprised if the Zoomers just started throwing it around again.
I wouldn't be either, but here we are, and that's where we're going. Yeah, it's
Hey, I'd
just
fit right in. They'll start calling me that. I'm sure they'd throw in the autistics.
well, I mean, we have enough of the comments of, oh, he has a bit of autism and stuff like that. Where you're like, that's not okay. You can't do that.
Yeah,
You
I
can't.
don't mind it, but
I know you don't
that's
mind it. I'm not.
personal.
That actually did come up in conversation in my private life where someone's like, "Do you have a real problem with that because of your personal connection?" I was like, "No, I had a problem with that before I found out that my brother was autistic." I was just like, I think it's belittling people for a condition outside of their control, and we're using it's
Sure.
to me. I think it's just a lesser version of when people used to say that's retarded, and it's not.
Yeah,
And it wasn't meant to be a commentary on mentally handicapped or disabled people.
yeah.
It was meant to be like, that's so stupid, what are you thinking? But I'm like, inherently you're associating the two together, so let's
Yeah.
not do that.
What's the is the word pejorative?
Yes,
Yeah.
very pejorative. I don't know. Adrian throws me off. You said it perfectly. It needs one or two more scenes
I
to
will say I wish the scene where she brings butt kiss to Rocky,
yeah.
I think that should have been the scene in between.
Yeah.
Because that would help a lot in terms of like, oh, they're starting to have love for each other
Yes.
before the scene where they're just like cuddling on the couch and everything.
Yeah, and
That would make a little bit more sense.
the other thing is the only thing they do gradually, and I like gradual here, is her wardrobe slowly changes to show more confidence.
Hmm.
By the end, she is in a far sleeker of the time, flattering dress, and it's not over the top sexy or anything, but far more of what women of the time, while trying to look good but also show some classic femininity, would wear. And I really
Yeah.
appreciate it and I like it. And it's still not over the top or it's still not risque, but it shows a gradual change where she goes away from these like frilly top dresses like a housewife to no, I'm a woman of the time with some confidence. That I respect, that I like. I just think it's lost
Um,
without the transition where she goes from unwanting and unknowing devoted, for lack of a better term, wife to her brother to
Housekeeper.
yeah, to wanting and knowing I don't know any other life, so I'm just going to be completely devoted to my new boyfriend as if he is God. It's like,
Hmm.
and the only scene you have to help that is when he realizes, oh, I took it too far.
Yeah.
I gotta
Um,
apologize, and I appreciate that scene, but
do you think you would have preferred? Because I saw two casting rumors about Adrian.
okay,
The other two I heard about was Susan Sarandon, so that would have been a year after Rocky Horror, and then the other one I heard was Cher.
Cher can't
Do
play
you
this
think?
part.
Well, apparently the only reason that they didn't choose her is because she was too expensive, because they had no budget.
I
Do you think
understand.
you would have preferred one of those
I'm living
two?
in 2025, and it's 50 years away from this casting and this movie being made. I have never once in my entire life, and I know it's a different era, ever seen Cher play anything other than a very confident character and
Oh
work.
yeah,
And
yeah. I mean,
Cher does not
she
give
yeah
one of
she
the
wins an
reasons.
Oscar for Moonstruck, where she is like one of the most confident women.
Right, and it's nothing wrong with that. But some people can't play certain things. They're just not
Yeah,
good at it. And all due respect to Cher, she's made a hell of a career, and that woman seems to be a fucking vampire. Still dating 20-year-olds into her 70s and 80s, and you're like, God damn, girl, okay.
hey, do what you want.
Exactly. Yeah, good for you, who cares? But, having said that, I've never seen her do that. I don't think she's also that great of an actor, anyways. But
I
nonetheless,
would completely agree.
the one thing about Adrian, and I think it's more now we look at it from the lens of Adrian's not that great because she just her role is either put upon housekeeper, caregiver to wanting caregiver, and that's all she knows. and it's very old-fashioned. Where
Yes.
but it also serves the purpose of trying to show that Rocky's a good guy.
I think it fits in with movies in the 50s and the 60s where it seems that the woman lives purely to satisfy their partner.
Yeah.
And it's very easy to say that nowadays because, like, we know how problematic that is.
Yes.
But uh, considering the time, I don't have a huge problem with it because they at least establish a strong character to begin with.
Yeah.
Because it shows reasons why she's so quiet, why she's so awkward. Like, showing how shitty of a brother she has, and
Right.
how, like, that's pretty much the person who cares, is supposed to care for her the most. Like, that does at least help explain her character
No,
a
she's
bit.
been beaten down her entire life. That's what she
Yes,
is.
yeah.
And because she doesn't have a strong way to stand up for herself,
Hmm.
that's what her life has become. And it's sad, and it's the tragedy of Adrian. It's the tragedy of a lot of women. It's the tragedy of a lot of people in general. You know, a lot of
Yeah.
people turn out, doesn't matter if it's man, woman, make sure you pick any gender, sexual orientation whatsoever. A lot of people get put in that role in life where they're just beaten down, and that's why they become kind of these shell
Again,
human beings.
again, I would say that's an argument for its realism
Yeah.
because it does feel real, the character,
Well, especially the area of the country it's
until it
in.
jumped.
Well, especially the area of the country it's in. Also, all due respect, this is not trying to take a shot at a culture, but especially of that time, a very traditional Italian northeastern family, that is super accurate.
Hmm. Also, we can you just speak of Philly a bit? What'd you think of it?
I'm going to shock you with these words. I actually had positive things to think about in my own personal life
Okay,
of Philly from watching this film.
there you go.
I think I've said it on air before, so I don't think I'm shocking anybody. I've lived in Philadelphia for 4 or 5 years of my life. It was the 4 worst years of my life in terms of personal stuff going on and other things. And I just, regardless of what people think of it, I didn't enjoy my experience there. It's not a city I belong in. Okay?
Hmm.
And I've said it in much worse terms in my private life, and I think I've said it in much worse terms on the show. So I'm not trying to roll back any words here. This is the first time I have ever seen Philadelphia presented in an accurate way and see the charm that people say Philadelphia has. And it's because of all the things that I think this movie does that I'm kind of shocked it does. Those are the things I like. You know, Rocky trying to take care of the neighborhood girl, and she's like, "Shut the fuck up and get away from me."
Hmm.
That is accurate to that city.
That character is so funny.
Hilarious. And why is it in the movie? It makes no sense why it's in the movie, other than one thing. It's good because it does show Rocky trying to
Yeah.
be a good guy. But then also the self-doubt scene of, like, who are you trying to give advice to? You're a loser or whatever. I like that. But it's also like, there's no need for that to be in the movie whatsoever. Zero.
Yeah, my guess is that there was a further development of that
Right.
whole through line with the script that they just had to cut for budgetary reasons. That would be my guess.
I would guess that as well. But having said all of that, you know, it's classic. One of the things I always say about Philly that I used to hate was how many people in the same sentence or in the same breath mind your own business. Like, why are you trying to get all up in my business? And then they'd be the first person to insert themselves in other people's business right after they
Mhm.
just said it. I'm like, do you not see the corollary of what you just did to what you said? And I'm
Yeah.
not saying that's just a universal thing of Philly. That's a universal thing of a lot of the Northeast and a lot of just mentality in general.
Yeah,
Where the
I would say
Midwest
that's
is completely different.
yeah, I would say that's an East Coast thing, for sure.
You've also lived on the East Coast for a long stretch of time. Even though it's a more rural area, you can attest to it. It's just the truth.
Yeah.
It's wild how many people, that's private, mind your own business, stay out of my business, why are you trying to get in my business? But then they'll insert themselves and give you every opinion on your life you've ever heard, and you're like, first of all, who asked you? Second of all, who the fuck do you think you are? Third of all, you're a fucking hypocrite. Shut the fuck up. How about
A little
that?
more brash.
It's just, and I get it. We're from the Midwest, and we just grew up with Midwestern passive aggressiveness, which is its own problem, and I'm not trying to belittle that
Oh,
problem.
yeah.
But it's very much they're living their lives. And when we say that, there's a tone to where it's like, well, they're living their lives. I don't necessarily agree with how they're doing it, but we don't insert ourselves in a lot of people's business. People don't usually do that, right? Which is why pushy people in the Midwest usually go very far, but also have a reputation because they just do something outside of the norm. But I appreciated it because A, it's accurate, and B, what I thought was most interesting, I thought Polly was super interesting. Because
Oh, for sure.
their relationship is one that I saw 1,000 times a day in Philadelphia, where someone would just talk mad shit about someone who was in their lives, to the point where you're like, you clearly don't like this person. Why are you in each other's lives? Why are you doing this? They're like, well, they're my best friend. I'm like, how are they your best friend if you think this negatively
Yeah.
about them?
Yeah.
How are
I
they
think-
your person? And it's just this whole classic, I don't know if it's a cultural Italian or
I
even
know,
other
I-
cultures on
I
the
think
East
it's-
Coast thing, or what?
I think it's 100% the period that the movie's made. Like, the 70s is a gold mine for, like, morally gray characters.
Right.
Where you're like, whoa, I cannot figure this character out. They are very complex, which feels real.
Yes.
Because, like, you look at any movie in the 70s, and it's like they're doing a lot of good stuff, but they're also kind of evil in a way. Like,
Yes.
the like prime example of that is Michael Corleone
Yeah.
in The Godfather,
Uh-huh.
where it's like he is a good person that does a lot of evil shit.
Uh-huh.
And then, like, another example of another big character would be Gene Hackman in The French Connection,
Oh, yeah.
where, like, he seems to be a good person, but at times he's, like, borderline racist.
Just a shithead. He's just a shithead. That's the way to say it.
Yeah, like, the 70s is a goldmine for morally ambiguous characters.
Well, right. I mean, it's a reflection of the time. It was a very hopeless
I think that's why I
time.
love it so much.
And the thing is, I understand that. Polly was most interesting to me because those couple scenes towards the end that Polly has, where, the classic he flips out, or, why are you doing this? You think, like, you don't know anything. Why are you putting me in this spot? Calling the television crew and everything. It's his way of trying to help, but it's also his way of interceding and trying to take over, right? He wants to be a part of the show. But it's accurate. I saw that 1,000 times. Like, well, I know better. And you're like, how do you know better in my life's affairs? Why do you think you get to do that?
Yeah.
But it's very true and real, especially to that area. That area still operates like that. Or the amount of times that Rocky looks like he wants to bash his face in, but he's like, that's my boy. And I'll back him till the day is long, but also I hate him myself. It's like, I don't understand this.
Another thing...
I don't get it.
Yeah, another thing that feels very real is, like, their friendship is cemented in a certain way before he starts dating Adrian,
Yes.
and then it completely changes after, which feels very real to me.
Yeah.
Even though it's still friendship, but it's a lot more, like, toxic.
Well, super toxic, and also on top of that, my favorite is actually, my favorite little scene is when he comes in, and it's after their big blow up, and after everything, he comes up, he's like, hey, I got an idea for advertising, I know advertising. And Rocky just, like, it doesn't look like he's trying to blow him off, but the line is said like he's trying to blow him off. He's like, if you can make money off my name, go for it, I don't care.
Well, that seems a very East Coast thing. People always on a hustle, where it's like, I know, I got a perfect idea for you. Even though it's like, dude, you are a fucking bartender. Like, that feels very real also.
Yep. But it's accurate. And I like the fact that I did read this, and I agree with this criticism. Oddly empty streets a lot of the time.
I'm guessing that's a budgetary thing
I would assume it is, where they just clear the
because,
street and it's easier to do that.
yeah, apparently the ice skating rink, I think it was supposed to be an outdoor ice skating rink, and there were supposed to be like hundreds of extras, and they were just like, dude, we cannot afford 100 extras. We, we just need to make it two characters, and they do find a good way around that actually.
Well, also, it feels very Philly, frankly.
Yeah, that's true.
All I do is this, and say, well, it's not very romantic, but you put thought into it. I'll give you that.
Also, Rocky is quite possibly the worst date of all time. I mean, I get that Adrian is shy, but does he ask her a single question about her?
No,
Like the whole time he's just talking about himself. I was laughing so
no, he's not
hard.
talking about himself. He's specifically talking about him as a boxer. That is it.
Yes.
Which,
Yeah.
granted, that's his whole identity to himself.
Also, Rocky is quite a blabbermouth. Like he's talking to himself
Here's
most
the thing:
of the film.
there's a charm to that character. I can't lie, but my God, talk about a character I'd never want to meet in real life. Because I'd be like, shut the fuck up.
That would bother me, but he does seem to be a legitimately good person.
Yeah, no, I get it, and that's why I'm like, there's charm to it. But my God, please don't ever let me meet this person in real life. That would annoy the fuck out of me.
I agree, they would be annoying as fuck.
No, but I was gonna say this is scarily accurate to Philly. Accurate to Philly. I literally wrote the quote. This is scarily accurate to Philly. My God.
Yeah,
I love the fact that the streets were dirty. That's extremely accurate.
that's the 70s for you. If you like that, you gotta watch Taxi Driver, because New York in that movie is fucking filthy.
East Coast cities, big cities, are dirty. It's just a fact.
And the 70s version of them are
Oh,
like
before they were cleaned
straight
up? Yeah, no shit.
Yeah, they're like straight up disgusting at times.
Right. It is so accurate with the way things
Hey,
are said. I'll seize
that's
use.
pretty,
I'll seize use. That's such an East Coast Philly. I'll seize use. You're like, okay, that's Philly accent right there.
I was gonna say that's free production design for you, shooting in a city like that.
Yeah, it is.
Because it's just like you don't have to do anything to the location; it already looks fucking great.
Because it is. It's what it is.
Yeah.
Other than the cars not completely impeding the road, that is extremely accurate to Philly.
Yeah, there would be a lot of traffic. That's true.
Well, beyond that, it's just not even there's a lot of traffic, but there's just cars parked everywhere, and every street feels claustrophobic. The thing is, I'm not sure where Rocky lives. I'm getting South Philly, but I'm not entirely sure because there's also areas where I'm like, that looks like Kensington, and
I'll look it up.
that's a different area entirely. They have similarities, but it's a different area entirely. And the train going overhead also throws me off, but also I know a lot of the train system has gone underground, and I don't have knowledge of what the train system was in the 70s versus in the
Um,
2020s.
apparently, Rocky lives in an apartment in the Kensington neighborhood of Philadelphia.
First of all, that looked too nice for Kensington, but maybe the 70s was an accurate representation of that. Kensington is the most notorious neighborhood in all of Philadelphia. It is the
For crime, you mean?
yes, it is
Okay.
it is the Compton of Philadelphia.
Okay.
Okay, and I don't say that in a way to disparage it. Also say that as someone who literally lived on the dividing line between Port Richmond and Kensington. They're two neighborhoods. Philly is a very classic segregated city, like many metropolitan areas that were designed at times where you can literally go cut up. This ethnic group lives there. This ethnic group lives here. This ethnic group lives there. Kensington is notorious for drug use. It's notorious for specifically IV drug use. It's very classic.
Low income.
It's a very classic poor neighborhood. It is very stereotypically black. It's just what Kensington is.
Yeah, and that's hey, that's the system working. The system that those all the whiteys
Uh huh.
put in place.
And it's a shame of what it is. Kensington is an area that is actively
Um,
trying to be gentrified, but I don't think they're doing a great job of it. It's hard to
is
gentrify Philly as well because it's just so unapologetically itself.
is Philadelphia worse than Milwaukee in terms of segregation of the neighborhoods?
No, but what I will
Okay.
say is, so statistically speaking, it is very sad. It's the city of my birth. It's one of my favorite cities in the world. Milwaukee is the most segregated city in the country. Just factually, it is the
That's
most
what I've
segregated.
heard.
It's the most segregated city in the country. You truly can give me a map, and I can go. Whites live here, blacks live here, Hispanics live here, and there's not a ton of crossover.
Hmm.
Then there's mesh areas where people of certain classes or people of certain socioeconomic statuses, that's changed. But Milwaukee is still extremely cut by block. You live here, you live here, you live here.
Yeah.
Philly is slightly more integrated, but I think there's more distinct neighborhood markers in Philly than there are Milwaukee. And having lived in both cities, it's like crazy the marker demarcations where you
Mm.
just go, don't pass that street. And you're like, why? You're like, because that neighborhood fucking sucks in Philly. Where
Mm.
Milwaukee, it transitions quickly, don't get me wrong, but all of a sudden, like 3, 4 blocks, you're like, this neighborhood looks a lot different, feels a lot different. What's going on?
Yeah. I mean, that's a system from well over 100
No,
years
it's
ago.
it's 1800s, early 1900s horse shit.
Yeah.
Where
That's how you get like Chinatown
yeah,
or Koreatown, like that, or like this is where the Irish people live.
right. Well, that was one thing I did want to comment about the movie in general. I mean, I'm not trying to go into socioeconomics and so and the the sociology of every city. But having said that, I did find it very interesting the shots of Philly that they chose, where they just went, we're going to pick all the iconic spots of Philly, and which I think is really smart. But in
Where?
Kensington, it's hilarious because like the shipyard, I don't care if
Yeah.
it's the 70s or today. It's an enormous pain in the ass to get to the shipyard, and for him to theoretically run all the way there and run all the way back, that ain't happening. Like, it is just not gonna
That's
happen.
that's my favorite location
It's the
in the
shipyard.
whole movie.
Yeah,
Like as a back, like as a set, it works so well, especially in that montage.
yeah. Um,
Also, it's fun to see he's doing the Tom Cruise run scene. He's just fucking booking it.
I did notice it. I appreciated it. I mean, everybody has. The thing is, this movie has staying power. It created an icon that people still have to do. The Rocky statue is right
Franchise
outside of the art
is
museum.
still alive.
Well, I remember even in what was it, 2002 or 2003? I think it was '02. The link opened up, which is where the Eagles play today. They shut down and demolished Veterans Stadium, which was a notoriously crazy Philly place to play football. It's where they booed Santa Claus and threw ice balls at him and all
Yeah.
kinds of crazy shit. The link still carries some of that reputation, but it's been cleaned up because of the NFL ticketing policies. You could still get away with more there than you can other places,
Mm.
but it's a lot of lipstick on a pig for my take. Having been there for an event, I'm like, this is a little tight in here. Okay. But nonetheless, not a big deal. It is crazy how much of the icon status it has to where, since the Eagles didn't have a Super Bowl winner, they brought in Stallone to open the stadium with the first game and be the first like honorary
Or a
person
football stadium.
for a football stadium because Rocky is the icon of Philly.
Yeah.
And I was just like, and I've always laughed at that. I'm like, now obviously they have two Super Bowls and they have a great franchise and they have one of the
Mhm.
best GMs in NFL history. So I can't take it away from them, even though I fucking hate that team. I have to respect what they've accomplished and what they've done. But I always found it hilarious, and I'm like, You brought in one of film's biggest losers because you didn't even have a winner of your own, and that's who opened your stadium. Well, what do you expect was going to happen? You're never going to win a fucking Super Bowl this way.
Yeah,
Obviously,
Rocky
that
does
worked
not
out.
start winning until the sequels.
Right, exactly. But at the same time, it created an icon. The Rocky statue is still right outside of the art museum. Literally every day, there is a line of tourists that have to go take a picture with the Rocky Stadium or with the Rocky statue. Every day you drive past the art museum, people are running up those stairs. I've done it. I've actually run up those stairs barefoot. It wasn't intentional to be barefoot. It was a fun story. Obviously, you've met our friend Simran, and you like Simran, but we were going to do just a jog. And he's like, "Oh, are we racing or not?" I was like, "I didn't really intend on." He's like, "Oh, well, let's just not take it that. Let's take it easy." I was like, "Okay." Then he sped up a little bit, so then I sped up a little bit, so he sped up a little bit, and I sped up a little bit, and then finally it just got to the point where I went, "Fuck it!" My flip flops were falling off, and I went, "Fuck you! I'm gonna beat you up these hills. I'm gonna beat you up these stairs, and I'm gonna do it barefoot." Which also, don't recommend doing anything barefoot in Philly. Don't fucking do that. That's a really bad decision.
I'd assume that's a pretty popular tourist spot.
That is the outside of Independence Hall. That is the number one tourist spot. But I will say this: for such an historic city, in terms of like actual history that happened there, international tourists would be more interested in doing the Rocky statue and doing the steps to the art museum than they would the history. More the Americans do both. The American tourists do both things.
Yeah.
International tourists, they're running those steps. They're taking the art museum stuff.
That makes sense.
It's also a nicer area, Philly. That area around the art museum. That's where I start to like some of the geography of Philly. And it goes towards Wissahickon Park, which is a beautiful park. It's the second largest urban park in the country, only to Central Park. It's a beautiful park to go to. Highly recommend it if you're in the Philly area. Love hiking through there. It's a great bike riding place as well. Don't recommend swimming and diving, but everyone does it. So yeah. It's a nice little place, though. But yeah, it was odd because I got a couple tears in my eyes because I was reflecting in a more positive manner on my time in Philly, which does not happen often.
Hey, I mean, that song. I mean, we would be like, we should be crucified if we didn't at least mention the song.
Oh, Gonna Fly? Yeah.
It is incredible.
It's cheese-tastic, but it's incredible.
It's cheese-tastic now. Back then, it wouldn't have been.
Sure.
Also, it's nominated for Best Song at the Oscars, and I think it has like 5 words in it.
Gonna fly now. And that's it.
Like, that's incredible.
Huh?
Like, I can't think of another song that has that little of lyrics. Like, really, they're not lyrics. But
It's just
mostly
over the top. It's
instrumental.
big instrumental. It's big feeling.
Yeah.
And you get into it. And this is what this movie does really well. It makes you feel. It's a very efficient movie as well. But admittedly, I think we kind of gone over this, man. Like, it was also fun seeing the Spectrum. It's a classic arena, especially if you're a sports fan or really anything with arena stuff. The Spectrum is a classic Northeastern arena.
Who do you say is the MVP of the movie?
It has to be Stallone. I understand a lot of people are saying Talia Shire. I just don't think there's enough for her to do to be the MVP of this movie. I could see if there were more Mickey, maybe some Burgess Meredith in there, but Stallone is doing the heavy lifting. Stallone's doing... I mean, is there a scene without Stallone in it outside of the first Apollo promoter scenes?
No, I can't think of one.
Right. This is not a movie that cuts away from its main character very often.
Yeah.
And all the heavy lifting is done by the main character, which is something people should know to learn and respect. What I would say about this is I don't think Rocky is great. I don't think it is amazing. What it does, but there are pieces of it that are amazing. Be authentic, be sincere. Those things are here in spades. And it is incredibly efficient with its story. To the point where I think it's too efficient at times, like we talked about with the relationship between Adrian and Rocky. I think there could be a couple extra shots. I would have no issue if this movie added 5 to 10 minutes. Even if it was short stuff, just to give you a little more. just a little more to believe in some of what they're doing, and I think to me that would take it from good to great or great to beyond. But there are other things here that are so strong on their own that you can't really complain about it.
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, it at least doesn't overstay its welcome. Which,
No, it does not.
to me, that adds a whole point. I I think on my tier list of all the best pictures, I put Rocky as like a mid B.
Okay.
So it'd be like, in terms of, there's been quite a bit of almost 100 best pictures now. So I would say Rocky ends up in like the 40s. So it's still in the positive half, but not completely there.
I will say Oscar time. Let's do a tier list. Let's walk through your tier list of the best picture winners because you've seen all of them.
Yeah.
And go through.
I mean, that will take forever.
But we can do it pre-made where we can do S through F and we can kind of go like, here are some themes of what I'm seeing. Here are some outliers of the tiers. We should do that for a show.
Yeah.
We'll go through all the best picture winners, and I'm excited to see how many would be S tier. I'd be very interested to see.
I can tell you right now, 1.
Okay, wow. That's bold. That's bold.
Maybe 2. Maybe.
I'm very interested to do this show now. That'll be a lot of fun. But overall, I do enjoy the movie. Was this worth the box office?
100%.
Yeah. Is it worth a rewatch?
If you haven't seen it, I would say watch it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it totally merits a rewatch.
I don't know if I'm ever going to watch this movie again in my life. Granted, I also was predisposed to not want to watch it, and it took 33 years to watch it. So
Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
to the point where I said, "Oh, I watched Rocky for the first time," and Ab just went, "Why?" And then this morning, when she was getting ready for work, she had a leisurely morning, thankfully. And I was like, "Oh, we're talking." She said, "What are you guys doing?" I was like, "Oh, we're talking about Rocky." She's like, "Oh, that's why you watch it." That makes a lot more sense now. I was like, "Yeah, it's not a movie I'd usually just pick to go watch." But there's been a lot of movies that I normally wouldn't pick that I've watched this year. I don't know if I'm going to hit my goal of 100 new movies this year, but I have watched around 60 now, so there's a shot. There's an outside shot I'll get there. So
I would say if it had not won Best Picture, I don't know if I would have watched it either before this.
that's very fair. That's very fair. But overall, fun movie, enjoyable. It did have a 93 Rotten Tomato score, 69 from the critics. I think the critics are more accurate here than...
That's a little low to me.
I would say they're closer to where it belongs. That's what I'm saying.
That's 31% of critics saying it's less than a 3 out of 5, which that doesn't seem right.
That's fair. That's fair. I just don't think it's a 93% A sweeper, you know?
I would. 3 out of 5? That's not that good.
I guess if you're using that merit system, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nonetheless, fun movie. Enjoy it. Hope you guys enjoyed this show. Go watch it. We got some more stuff coming your way in the next couple weeks. We're kind of back to a regular schedule here. Hopefully you enjoyed spooky season, and now we're going towards award season and year wrap up, so that'll be fun. But in the meantime and in between time, thank you guys so much for watching and listening.
Should I do the random number generator?
Yeah, let's do the number generator quick.
Okay, let's see here. 2001, which I believe, let me make 100% sure.
Is that Fellowship?
I
Lame.
gotta make sure here.
The suspense is killing me.
Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.
We could save it for a 25th anniversary next week, or next year, but...
Okay, let's save that. I'll do it again.
Well, here's the thing. We can do that as one of the first January shows of the year.
Okay, yeah.
All right, we'll do that. That'll be fun to start the year off. You'll be happy to start the year off then.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, thank you guys so much for watching and listening wherever you are. We appreciate it. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. Peace, love, and hugs to you all. Goodbye. Bye.